Now Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro, Reuel, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, Sinai, the mountain of God. There's a note here in the Amplified. It says, quote, angel of the Lord, unquote, has been capitalized here to reflect the likelihood that it is God appearing in a visible form. Continuing on in the Amplified, and this is the part that speaks about the angel of the Lord, which note I just read. The angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing flame of fire from the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush was on fire, yet it was not consumed. So Moses said, I must turn away from the flock and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned up. When the Lord saw that he turned away from the flock to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then God said, Do not come near. Take your sandals off your feet, out of respect, because the place on which you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Then Moses hid his face, because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have in fact seen the affliction, suffering, desolation of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, oppressors, for I know their pain and suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand, power of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a land that is good and spacious, to a land. Okay, let's see now. This is a pretty long verse, and I've already started it, but I'm going to start it again because there's a note in it, and I'm going to read the note. And the note is about the land flowing with milk and honey, I believe. This is what the note says in the Amplified here. It says, this phrase referred to the abundant fertility of the land of Canaan. Milk, typically that of goats and sheep, was associated with abundance. Honey referred mainly to syrups made from dates or grapes, and was the epitome of sweetness. Bees' honey was very rare and was considered the choicest of foods. Now that's what the Amplified note says. I don't know if that's true, but that's what the Amplified note says. So I'm going to start over here, go back and start again. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand, power of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a land that is good and spacious, to a land flowing with milk and honey, a land of plenty, to the place of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Now behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen how the Egyptians oppress them. Therefore come now, and I will send you to Pharaoh, and then bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? And God said, Certainly I will be with you, and this shall be the sign to you, that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve and worship God at this mountain. Then Moses said to God, Behold, when I come to the the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers, ancestors, has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? Okay, there's another note in this next verse, so here's the note in the Amplified regarding I am who I am. The note says, related to the name of God, YHWH, rendered capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, which is derived from the verb HAYAH, which means to be. I'm just going to show you that here. Okay, so God said to Moses, okay, I'm continuing here, and I'm going to go back and just read this again really quickly and continue on, but I'm going to see if there's another note here. Looks like there's at least one more note. Let's see. There's a couple of more notes, so I'm gonna see if I can look at both these notes. This is my name forever. That's a little bit later down. The note says in the Amplified regarding this, to know the names of God is to understand his many attributes and grasp the godly characteristic which the name denotes. God's name is his self-revelation. It has a bunch of scriptures here. Anyway, the next note down here is regarding every woman asking any neighbor who lives in her house for articles of silver and gold. This note says, in the Amplified, this indicates that the Egyptians had occupied the Israelites' homes and confiscated their possessions as part of Pharaoh's policy of enslavement. Later, after suffering all the plagues, the Egyptians would be more than willing to give the Israelites whatever they wanted in order to be rid of them. Now again, that's a note in the Amplified. I don't know if that's true, but that's a note in the Amplified. All right, I'm going back to continue reading in the Amplified here. So here we go. Let's see. All right. Here we go. God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, you shall say this to the Israelites, I am has sent me to you. Then God also said to Moses, this is what you shall say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, Israel, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial name to all generations. Go, gather the elders, tribal leaders of Israel together, and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared to me, saying, I am indeed concerned about you and what has been done to you in Egypt. So I said, I will bring you up out of the suffering and oppression of Egypt to the land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of the tribes will listen and pay attention to what you say, and you, with the elders of Israel, shall go to the king of Egypt, and you shall say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. So now, please, we ask and plead with you. Let us go on a 3 days journey into the wilderness, so that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless he is forced by a strong hand. So I will reach out my hand and strike Egypt with all my wonders, which I shall do in the midst of it, and after that he will let you go. And I will grant this people favor and respect in the sight of the Egyptians. Therefore it shall be that when you go, you will not go empty-handed, but every woman shall insistently ask her neighbor and any woman who lives in her house for articles of silver and articles of gold and clothing, and you shall put them on your sons and daughters. In this way you are to plunder the Egyptians, leaving bondage with great possessions that are rightfully yours.